who turned your back on your sisters in order to defect from the Delta,
Mm.
the Mississippi Delta, your roots.
That's deep. And shout out to Akeelia Wright. She sent me, that was The Alchemist. That's the book I was trying. I can't believe I can remember. I was trying to look at it on my phone to find it in my library. But yeah, The Alchemist. So that kind of what we're talking about kind of reminds me of The Alchemist. Have you read that book? The Alchemist?
I haven't read that one.
Oh, it's a good read. You'll like that one. It's a dope book. Real dope book. But okay, so now when it comes to where we are now, all right. When we talk about the mothers, and clearly everybody knows this is a mother's house, a matriarchal house. Isis, Set, when you see her in the hieroglyphs and the pyramids, a lot of times you'll see her with her arms extended and you see the wings, like, you know, or even if she's like has them, you know, down by her side, you see the wings. Can you kind of share what the wings symbolize in regards to this thing we call flight? In regards to, and also how that kind of connects to the sun when you talk about the sun. And
you got first thing you got to realize is the reason she got feathers on is because that's Mesoamerican culture. What we call Olmec, Inca, Aztec, old Mississippians. It's Mesoamerican culture. It's the same thing that you see when you see the tribes dressing up with the feathers on, with the wings. They're imitating the ceremonial dress of Tahuti. This Tahuti land over here, right? So as the land of Tahuti, all of the tribes call him the Great Father. This is the Great Osirian. But in Africa, they refer to the Great Osirian as Inky. So you got two distinct, different patriarchal lines influencing two different continents. That's the first thing you got to understand about seeing her with her wings spread.
Mm.
And his symbolism is the full aura, right? Because when the aura is fully illuminated and you can see the aura, sometimes when people stretch their arms out like that, it gives the appearance that they have wings made of light.
Mm.
So the ancestors have to remind you of that. So they create what's called archetype artistic expression.
Mm.
So they put the wings on the pottery so that you will remember that spiritually you have wings.
Mm.
Right? Now, the technological wing disc, right, is the symbol for the fleet of the sky. The fleet of the sky was under the command of Enlil, which translates into English as Lord of the Sky or Lord of the Rumbling Voice. Right? So when we're looking at the symbols, not until we know the origin of the symbol and what it means in its origin, will we know the truth of the matter of what they concealing from us in our face, behind our back. Using symbols to talk above our concept or understanding.
Yeah, that's deep. That's real deep. Not because, yeah. Oh man. Okay. So let me ask you this, because this has been a hot topic and a hot debate on the channel since our first interview. Where did human life begin from your perspective? Because some people have seen disagreements. Some people saying America, we was here first. Some people saying Africa, we was there first. Can you kind of break down from your research and your studies which one you feel like was the origin or birthplace of humanity?
So the outer Africa theory is predicated on Lucy being the oldest recovered hominid, bipedal hominid, ever discovered at 3.5 million years old. The problem with that is the species of hominid that Lucy was is called proconsul. Proconsul was not a human. It was a chimpanzee. So The out of Africa theory ties in and was influenced by the philosophy of Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory that has never been proven. It's debatable. That's why it's still a theory. But the reality of it is all humans is made of the carbon base of corn. Scientists already have went through this research. The only place that you find corn originally was the Americas. Corn was exported to the world from America, and that's why the Corn Festival was one of the most sacred festivals we had that drew tribes all the way to what we call today the Aztec temples from both North and South America for the Great Corn Festival. This is why you have these so many different types of corn, but you only know about the Oshun corn, the yellow corn. But the corn is the carbon that made up the human. And if you look at it, you got so many different colors of corn, right? So the breeding or the laboratories that have all of the genetic profiles in phenotype is in Teotihuacan, in the temples, on the walls. So the human was created quintessentially in the Americas and exported to the rest of the world. Now you could say we was all at Pangea at the time, right? Because when they say something is pagan, they say it's Pangean. That means it go back to the earliest days of Atlantean civilization.
That's deep. That's real deep. That's real deep.
So remember, Tartaria is Tartarus, and Tartarus is the land that's under the ice in Antarctica.
That's deep.
Atlantis was the Americas as the capital of Atlantis with the original Temple of Isis. The waters used to, in the night sky under the little moon before they parked Luna out here, used to shine and glisten in the night sky. And it used to look like she was surrounded by glistening, flowing rivers of metal because of the fluorescent nature of the black moon. It's like having a black light in the club.
Ooh, that's deep. Listen, let me jump in real quick because we moving now, family. Y'all buckle up, Buttercup, because we moving now. So how does that relate to the Aurora Borealis and how that glistens, at the poles?
So that comes from a refraction of light as it radiates off the gases. Or you ever be driving down the street and you see that wave of heat coming up? Right. So it's like that, but it's in the atmosphere. And it's composed of gases. The same way that wave is composed of gases being released from the earth. And the refraction of the light going through the gases gives us the luminosity that gives us that effect of the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights or the southern lights. Now, when the solar flares get intense, the ends of the Aurora Borealis moves further south from the North Pole, and the southern lights move further north from the South Pole. It's showing you the impact of the solar energy radiation that's coming in, because it's making the heat up faster, that's covering more spectrum of light across a broader surface area.
Woo! That's deep. That's real deep. Now, I remember last week when you was on, you had a dope emblem. I was looking at it in the replay. I couldn't really see it while we was on the live, but I saw it in the replay. And I think I got an idea of what that means or symbolic to. But before we go into that, can you kind of share
this one?
Yeah, nope. Well, let me see. Can you move it a little bit more to your right? But okay, yeah, it was that one. I didn't see the full. See, I didn't see the headdress. All I saw was the face. Can you kind of share what that symbol, what that means, and what that's symbolic for?
That's a full feathered, full bonnet war chief. Chief Pontiac is a war chief. Ottawa. I'm an old Mississippian with the oldest rank, so by my old ass being on the territory of the Ottawa and having the competent capability to arrange military strategy and tactics behind the scenes, then I inherit the responsibility to recover the Chief Pontiac aspect of the war by telling all the tribes what's going on the land.
Yes, that's deep. And it reminds me of two things. It reminds me of some of the masks that was worn in the movie Immortals, but it also reminds me of, I want to say it was either the Mayans or the Aztecs guys. One of them. I can't remember which one it was. I was just looking at something earlier, doing a little research, but I saw that face looked very similar to one of their I don't know if he was a deity or what his role was, but it looks very similar to someone who was significant in one of those two cultures. I can't remember which one. Now with Washington, and that's the mountain of the moon, correct? Or is it the mountain of the sun?
Not for sure. I don't want to say for sure.
It's one or the other. It's either the mountains. It's either attributed to the sun or the moon. I can't remember. But every time I look at it, it definitely looks like, especially the large one, the big one. It looks like that would be a landing pad for some very significant crafts at the very top of it.
They don't need no landing pad. That's one of the most 3D earth-minded things you could think that they need a landing pad. They can use stilts and land damn near anywhere. And they can launch a landing pad from the bottom of their ship that will land on the ground, but it'll make them hover above the disc. They don't need no damn landing pad. That's some 3D shit. They can go through portals. They can land on water and don't sink. Or they can land on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. That's deep.
Right? They can stay under the water longer than we can in our submarines.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because they know how to extract the oxygen out of the water using the metal of the ship as a breathing apparatus.
Yep. We really about to go, folks. So nah, for real though. We really about to go. Because now I got video footage of two crafts, and I have pictures of maybe 3 or 4 that I caught personally. Now I can't say how many I've seen. I've seen so many I can't even say, but I actually have receipts for 2 that I've seen, and I have pictures of maybe up to about 5 that I've actually caught on camera. But I've seen a lot of different types of crafts, and I've actually filmed a couple that I'll share. I might embed it into this when I do the upload with this, but I do know that there are certain types of crafts that are attributed to certain types of beings. And this is going to bring me into where I wanted to go, kind of ask some questions that the tribe had too. Now, the distinction between who would be Inky's fleet of crafts and who would be Enlil's fleet of craft. Kind of like the dirty Moors, the black mobility versus, the ones who are the righteous Moors.
Inky is the commander of the Nibiru fleet now. And he is the next in line to hold Anu's seat. Anu is going to be promoted to the position of chairman of the Galactic Council. So Enlil is exiled. So the only thing left is to finish the process. What happens spiritually trickles down physically. When I talk about Inky and Enlil, I'm really just talking about frequencies of energy that deals with understanding how structure work in conflict. So they become tools of learning. But when you give them a noun, person, place, or thing, people tend to grasp the concept that's attached to it easier. So I read it as energy, but other people read it as a novel.
Got you. And that makes sense because shout out to Arisha Stone. Had a dope conversation with him the other day too, man. We was talking about this today, actually, off air. But we were talking about how the significance of knowing, like, about what's a good being or a good person, a good energy and entity versus what's a bad. Because I think a lot of times, especially now, a lot of us, especially us, because we've been through so much pain and trauma, you know, with racism and
we lost trust in each other more than we did in other people.
There you go. And that's where I wanted to tap into about how the significance of energy and frequency is, because it's not a skin thing now. Not at this point. It's way beyond that. Now it is strictly, primarily a energetic frequency thing, especially when you talk about mama getting rid of the parasites and having her cycle and flushing all that foolishness out of here. So with that, how does that correlate to where we are in regards to how we're living our experience, like in regards to like the karmic, attributes that come back and forth with what we do in regards to karma, our habits, whether we drinking and smoking and fucking all the time and not, working on elevating our frequency. How does that tie into?
Think about this. If you got anything you do, you're supposed to do. If you got, somebody can't tell you got and put restrictions on your God expression. Just because a person may have a vice, don't make him any less of a God. And just because a person is homeless, sleeping on Skid Row or under the subway, that don't make them any less God. They just pauper gods. And the pauper guys is the one that no longer want to play in the shenanigans of the charade because they see through the cracks in the game and they know what's going on, but everybody think they crazy. So rather than play the game and try to change everybody's mind, they just refuse to participate. And we call them homeless. Those are pauper guys. You still there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. That's deep. I'm trying to pull up. I'm pulling up some. I'm trying to pull up some images of the bureau, and some of the like the Crystal City and some of the some of the crafts and things that we're talking about to kind of give a visual. But I got to convert them from
the Crystal City is called a jumper ship. It's a royal jumper ship. Right? It fit inside of another bigger craft called a mothership. The Crystal City is big, but it's just a jumper ship. And it's all bedazzled because it was made for the royal family of Nibiru. And when it land, it's going to land on Emerald Lake. I think it's in Colorado or Montana. That's where it's going. That's where it's scheduled landing at. The county that's shaped like a Liberty Bell.
Yeah, that's deep. That's real.
Remember, Dorothy was looking for Emerald City. But she wasn't looking for Emerald City. She was looking for a Crystal City. She just didn't know that it sits on the Emerald Lake. And this is what happened if you follow the yellow brick road. Follow the gold.
That's deep because I was able to get one. Let me make sure it's the right one. I was able to get one converted in time. So now you said, and I'm glad you said, what you said, the Emerald Lake, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm gonna share.
So crop circles. Crop circles are not new. Before we had technology, we had crop circles. They just started reporting on them in the 90s?
It wasn't that long ago. Not long ago at all.
Yeah, but when you look in ancient texts, you see the symbols that the crop circles have in them, and they tell you what they mean. It's actually an ancient language that you can translate.
Yep.
But the oddity is nobody ever see a ship in the area,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the stalks are not broke like something sat down on them or crushed them. They still growing and functioning like normal,
Yep.
right? So that's what you call fourth dimensional energy,
Mm-hmm.
but it's electromagnetic in nature,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's using the magnetism of the earth as it spins in the circle to create the crop circle.
Mm. Yeah. That's deep. That's real deep. Now, because I'm a nerd, so I've been studying this stuff for a long time, and so I've seen how now they're putting a lot of this stuff in these documentaries or these series like Ancient Aliens and all that. But honestly, I feel like that's really the same thing they did like when they raided the Library of Alexandria. I feel like they took a lot of the work that they got from the Dr. Blairs and the Dr. Yorks of the world, you know what I'm saying, the Machwas, the Cradle Machwas of the world, and they kind of like putting it out from their perspective to where they can monetize it. Because remember, they were killing our master teachers for teaching us this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day. So it's like now all of a sudden, it kind of reminded me of weed. It's like you couldn't figure out how to control it back when you first got exposed to it. But now that you figured out a way to monetize it, now you want to put it out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like that's what we're seeing with the information now too.
Well, the Library of Alexandria, most of the scrolls that was there are in the Vatican Library,
Mm.
right? Some of the priests fled and took some to the University of Timbuktu. They took some of the scrolls to India and to the Tibetan mountains, but the largest number of them was carried through underground tunnels during the fire to Vatican City. They all under the all that ancient knowledge is still available if the Vatican ever release it, but they don't want to release it because it blows a lot of the false god narrative philosophy out of the water.
Yeah, that's deep, and I'm trying to keep up with the comments. Shout out to the tribe that's going ham in the comments. It's hard for me to keep up with everybody, but I saw one that kind of stuck out because it kind of, to me, goes exactly to what here go right here, what you were just saying. So, Snamaya Yasriel said that they heard that Nibiru was a rogue ship via AI the other day. Not sure they believe the rogue aspect.
It was declared a rogue ship when Enlil attacked the Earth. When Enlil attacked the Earth, Inky sent his son Marduk, not to be confused with Enlil's son Murdoch. He sent his son to secure Nibiru in order to protect Anu's throne. And so when the message came back that the name of Nibiru was changed to Marduk, it was classified as a rogue planet already. But it was secured by Inky's line in order to fight this war.
That's deep. That's real deep. And shout out to Cat's Corner. So Cat's Corner said they had a dream that the mothership was here back in 2020. That's deep because
They've been here that long.
But remember me and you was talking the other day. I was telling you about my experience too. I had one back in, I want to say mine was probably like in the 20, I say between 09 and 011 when I had a dream similar. Like, I mean, it was dope. I actually seen a documentary where this lady was a contactee, and she had the real dream that I had. That was the most vivid dream I ever had. She